Level 70 of Sultana Strings. Alphinote's thoughts appear to have turned from adventure to administration. Well, the question of how to put the Mad King's treasures to good use shows no sign of answering itself. Shall we be about it, Ironwald? I'm at your beck and call. And I should be getting back to my own task. I'll organize a squad to head down into the ruins and then start preparing for the big meeting. Oh, send Anonimo my regards. Oh, and ours too, if you please. We shall see you on your return. Hulda. Okay, probably going to the Houston Strip, okay. Probably the quickest way. And buy Jinlins real quick. Hi, Jinlins. The Paladin job quest was the best one. From 60 to 70. Not that it was like the best story or thematically. I really did like bringing back the guy from the earlier in the job quest line. Without spoilers. It was just the quickest. My lady, it is an honor to face you in the tournament. Since that day I have spent my every spare moment in the practice yard, striving to attain some fraction of your skill with the blade. Ah, forgive me. You are here for your audience with the Sultana. Please proceed.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy. The liberation of Alamigo will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel.
The last time we were alone in a room together, it didn't end well.
I speak of Rauban and his future.
Well, that saves us some awkward questions.
All know the tale of his rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call Uldar home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Alamigo. And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss. Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Alamigo and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt. Whether Rauban chooses to remain in Uldar or return to Alamigo, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret. Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a Sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears.
Didn't she get lost under a tree in the beginning?
Might I have your company for a brief adventure?
Okay. I don't have to carry you in my hand like Rauban did, huh?
Wonderful. Allow me a moment to change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
Go check things out. I'm down for that. I just did the quicksand, okay. You. Might have been quicker to teleport. But I like this red carpet. A map flickering like that. Perchance you remember, Lilira, the merchant's daughter? This is the persona I assume when I venture beyond the palace walls to observe my subjects unnoticed. Ordinarily, Papashan would accompany me, but for this particular outing I need an advisor, not a minder. And that is why I requested your company. Over the course of your many adventures, you have met people from all walks of life in every corner of Eorzea, and I would make use of your worldly experience. Now let us be on our way. Our first destination is Stone's Throw, just beyond the Gate of Nald. I just danced to quell an uprising out there. Look upon this procession of tattered tents. These refugees camp in squalor, at the mercy of the elements and Thanalin's predators both. The city's mighty walls offer safety, but the streets overflow with people as it is, and unless blessed by the hand of Nald himself, no refugee could ever hope to afford a dwelling in Ul'dah. 20 years have passed since the fall of Alamigo, and 5 since the calamity, yet the plight of the poor has grown more desperate, not less, as Sultana the blame falls upon me. You have done your best, Your Grace. Your hands have been tied, Your Grace. Yeah, we'll say your hands have been tied. Guess my authority is limited, and that is an obstacle I must work to overcome. Shall we press on? I would follow the road to the unholy air. I'm doing that weird thing, flashing thing. Annoying and distracting, and annoyingly distracting. It was here in this wholly unremarkable place that my mother and father met their doom. I was but a child at the time. My parents were returning from an inspection of our interest in eastern Thanalin when an untimely rockslide crushed their carriage. To this day, it is not certain if the incident was simple misfortune or expertly planned assassination. Raubon once offered to reopen the investigation and bring me the truth he assumed I must surely crave, but I refused. Even if my parents' deaths were orchestrated by the monetarist, we could only have brought their hirelings to justice. The true villains, those who plotted to put me on the throne as a biddable puppet, were ever beyond our reach. Thus did I plan to strip the merchants of their power and place our nation in the hands of its citizens, quite unaware of the consequences my actions would have for you and yours. I shudder to think how many goodly souls paid the price of my naivete. But I am no longer a child reciting words with the witless obedience, and I will not be used as a pawn in the monetarist's damnable games. Forgive me my outburst. You are one of the few people to whom I feel I can speak my mind. Come, let us return to Ul'dah and visit the Colosseum. Dun, 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 dun. From the moment I became Sultana, I found myself thrust into an endless parade of document signing and ceremonies. For years I simply signed where I was told to sign and sat where I was told to sit, blissfully oblivious to what any of it meant. Yet one good thing did come from that ignominious chapter in my life, for it was during an official visit to the Colosseum that I first met Raubon. The match I had been invited to attend was not at all what I expected. They had pitted the Bull of Alamigo against some dozen or so rival gladiators. Blinkered though I was, I would not stand for so obvious an injustice and demanded to see a fair fight, one man against another, and my royal wish was duly granted. It was not until later that I learned of the gambling ring which had arranged for Raubon to die on the sands that day. Regardless, my intervention meant that Raubon had but a single opponent to dispatch, which he duly did. When he knelt before me to receive the winner's purse, he swore that he would one day offer me his blade in service. Surrounded as I was by liars and manipulators, I confess I dismissed it as a pleasant piece of theater. But as you know, Raubon is a man of his word. Though it took him another 5 years of fighting on the blood sands, he amassed a fortune so great as to buy not only his freedom, but a seat on the syndicate, and then I had my blade. Echo! Part from the trailer, so maybe he didn't get a new arm. Maybe it was just a flashback. Yeah, he's a badass. You know how long it must have taken to win all that money to buy the Coliseum?
You mustn't! The danger is too great! Please, Your Grace, come back! I beg of you!
It seems you're the one who needs looking after, Master Sham. Raubon!
Your Grace, I have kept the promise made.
So you have, and in turn, so too shall I keep mine. With your winnings, you have become one of the 6 most wealthy souls in all Uldar, and so, as tradition dictates, Raubon Aldin, you have earned yourself a seat on the Syndicate. May your new station garner you still greater glories.
I am honored, Your Grace, and vow to serve with every fiber of my being from this day till my last.
I mean, he couldn't have just gotten it through prize money, huh? If he was gambling, though, like, he was obviously the favorite for a long time,
and
so...
long live Uldar!
This makes it that much harder. Words cannot well express what that man means to me. There are others who care deeply for my well-being, of course. Papa Shan's love for me is that of a grandsire for his grandchild. But upon matters of governance, I cannot turn to bodyguards and maidservants for counsel. Raubon, with the authority of his syndicate position, was the first sword I could wield. His was the only edge which could cut the strings that bound me. The Sultana's strings, level 70, complete. Choice, isn't it? Level 70, a Sultana's duty. Nanamo seems lost in thoughts of the past. We must make haste. My absence will not go unnoticed by the Sultan sworn for long, and there are other places I would visit. To the Arzaneth ossuary. That I have no clue where it is. I like the guilds. Okay, Thaumaturge Guild. Why on earth would you come here? You gonna learn Thaumaturgy? When the calamity threatened, Raubon led the Alliance forces into battle on the plains of Cartano, and I remained here. I prayed with all my heart that Archon Louis Sois would have the power to rouse the 12. Since that day, I've made a custom of visiting the shrine during each of my little excursions. Here I seek the blessing of Thal, reflect upon my choices, and ask myself if I am fulfilling my duties as Sultana. You are rightly celebrated as a champion because you have led the line in 100 battles for the good of Eorzea. In much the same way, I believe the measure of a monarch lies in how she leads her people in times of adversity. If I am to be a Sultana worthy of the name, I cannot turn a blind eye to the troubles facing Ul'dah. I have chosen my path. With Ala Mhigo now freed from imperial chains, I finally see a way to aid the refugees. Already many displaced Ala Mhigans seek to begin the long trek home. And as you well know, our artisan school shall be waiting to accept any who wish to learn the new trades. Realistically, however, it will take years for such training to yield tangible benefits. But we do not have years. These people will need shelter and employment if they are to survive, and this time the Ul'dah treasury shall provide. Precisely where and how to allocate the necessary funds is, of course, another question. Might you ask a member of the syndicate for advice? Why not seek the advice of one who employs refugees? Yeah, I don't think you'd be asking the syndicate. They're all pretty money hungry. A wise suggestion. Mayhap a visit to the Gold Saucer is in order. A proprietor is a member of the syndicate, and he is one of the few who pay refugees a fair wage. What have you acquainted with Godbert Mandeville? I need not explain his eccentric nature. Let us make our way to the landing, and I will see that word is sent to the Gold Saucer. Godbert should be only too glad to receive us. Time to go to the casino. I have ridden aboard a public airship before, but this shall be my first visit to the Gold Saucer. I must confess to some excitement. I had heard descriptions of its splendor, yet I never dreamed it would be so bright and inviting. No, I couldn't possibly. We did not come here to fritter away the royal coin. Godbert will be expecting us. Come, let us head directly to the lounge and ignore these gaudy temptations. Here's the lounge. Under Square West. Trifling call. Yeah, under the statue of Godbert. I believe this is where we are to meet Lord Mandeville. Shall we sit while we await his coming? My apologies, Your Grace. I have kept you waiting. He's wearing clothes. No apologies are necessary, Godbert. My request was sudden, and you were kind to make yourself available at such short notice. When the intrepid Zilla Luzalthi and the Sultana herself come calling, there is no more important engagement. She's undercover. Don't say it too loud. As to the purpose of my visit, I would have your thoughts on how the Crown might best aid the refugees residing in Thanalan. You are aware, I am sure, that many of Ala Mhigo's displaced sons and daughters long to return to their newly liberated homeland. And you are also aware of how they will suffer without shelter and work to sustain them. I would use our nation's wealth to spare them that suffering. What advice have you for me on the matters of how it might best be distributed? The unusual circumstances of our meeting and your Grace's choice of companion would suggest to me a desire for an honest and unvarnished opinion. I shall give you one. My advice to you is stop. Taxing Ul'dah's wealth to save Alamegan refugees is a terrible, terrible idea. You oppose my proposition? Most emphatically, I agree with your Grace that the refugees must have housing and employment, but what profit is there for Ul'dah in this arrangement? Profit? After all you have done for Girabanya's displaced, I thought you the very last person to seek to benefit from their misfortune. Forgive me, your Grace, but you appear to be laboring under a misapprehension. It is a fine endeavor to support one's fellow man, I fear. I fear, however, that your stance is one born of pity. Your intent is to save the refugees, is it not? For all our potential, we are indolent creatures by nature. If unconditional charity is all we know, then we begin to rely upon it, to expect it. Then we must consider Ul'dah's own poor and downtrodden. They hear of you spending the nation's coin not to improve their lot, but to nurture the distant citizens of Alamigo. It is unlikely they will applaud your generosity. Surely it is not your Grace's intention to foster new resentments, but to spread goodwill. Indeed, then any support I pledge to the refugees must promote self-sufficiency, whilst also serving the interest of the people of Ul'dah. Exactly so. Such an arrangement will create a far more equitable relationship with the returning Alamegans, even as it generates the revenue required to win the approval of your subjects. You have given me much to ponder, Lord Mandeville. I thank you for your candor. Level 70, a Sultana's duty. Sultana's resolve. Nanamo appears to be reassessing her plans. Profit. The thought never even crossed my mind. By standing about lamenting my naivety will do anyone any good. I shall consider my lesson learned and press on. Are you perchance acquainted with any successful merchants? If my attempt at philanthropy is obliged to reap a profit, it would seem wise to consult someone with a knack for business. No Lolorito. Ordinarily, I would not trust any agent of the East Aldenor Trading Company, but if you hold this Hancock fellow in high esteem, I am content to be led by you. You may repay my faith by journeying to distant Kugane and speaking with him on my behalf. Eager though I am to visit those shores, I have not the leisure for a lengthy sea voyage. Now, assuming you will travel as adventurers want to do, I shall await your report by the Ether Right in Ul'dah. Fair journey to you, Zilly, and a swift one, if you please. By the Ruby Bazaar, right? Greetings, honored madam. Will you be entering the Ruby Bazaar offices? Yes. Cock. Where's Dr. Ruby? Dilly, to what do I owe the pleasure? Are you here on business? I beg your pardon, Her Grace the Sultana would have my opinion on how best to invest the wealth of Ul'dah? Dear Zilly, I have you to thank for this recognition, I am sure, and I am flattered that you came to me, truly flattered. Why settle for a lowly apprentice when you could have the master? Upon matters of profit, there is no living soul better qualified to advise Her Grace than Chairman Lolorito, a man whose morning exertions are said to fill this guardrobe with gold. I should be happy to arrange a meeting for you, say at the Scion's former headquarters in Thanalin, the Waking Sands. Would seem a suitably neutral venue for negotiations, don't you think? Fare you well, Zilly, and may your dealings prove fruitful. Pray return to the Waking Sands. Could be by the Aetherite, so I figured it wouldn't be too far. Alright. See what she has to say. Welcome back. Did your merchant friend have any useful advice to share? With Lolorito, and you agreed to this? I'm well aware of his standing in the field of business, but I had hoped to keep the monetarist at arm's length, and him in particular. I cannot live in fear of the man. I must learn how to treat with him if I am to rule Ul'dah effectively. Very well, I will meet with Lolorito. Let us go on ahead to the Waking Sands and prepare for his coming. Taking her with me? Okay. So this is where the Scions first congregated. I have heard many tales, but never had the occasion to visit. To work then. The hour of our meeting draws near, and I would gather my thoughts. Pray see to it that we have appointed room to ourselves.
A personal summons from the Scions. This must be important business indeed. Though, if it concerns anything so underhand as an assassination, I fear I can be of little help.
He's something, all right. A little mask.
You have made your point. 'Tis indeed unsettling to find oneself seated across from an impassive mask.
Are you finally gonna take it off?
There, would this better please your grace? Or should I address you as Lady Lilira?
Nay, the deception has served its purpose. I am glad to see you found amusement in my little jest, Lord Lolorito, but shall we proceed to the business at hand?
By all means. I must say I am most eager to hear your proposal.
Simply put, I would aid the refugees camped in Thanalan in their efforts to return to Alamigo. The reparations you paid in the wake of your earlier misdemeanors will be used to fund the endeavor, together with the fortune seized from the late Teleji Adeleji's estate. But this plan is not intended to benefit the displaced alone. I would make of this an investment which shall enrich Ul'dah and Alamigo both. And who better to consult on matters of profit than the wealthiest man in all of Thanalan? I beseech you then, Lord Lolorito, share with us your mercantile wisdom.
Ah, 'twould seem your grace has matured beyond acts of earnest yet misplaced charity. Pray tell me more. To summarize, in return for facilitating the repatriation of refugees and assisting in the establishment of new industry in Alamigo, you ask that a proportion of all subsequent profits be promised to Ul'dah. Huh, I am impressed, Your Grace. 'Tis an elegant solution, albeit one lacking certain crucial details, specifically which industry and where.
We set up some artisan stuff in Rauger's Reach during the Alchemist quest line. Goldsmithing, I think.
How swiftly you identified the weakness in my plan, just as I knew you would. Your travels have taken you across the length and breadth of Gir Abania, and you know the land far better than I. Which of the settlements you visited would best provide a home for our refugees? Which has the greatest potential to flourish, given the appropriate investment?
Guinea, Travagana, confuse all the names. Giri, Elegana, the Salt. What the hell is the Saltery?
Yes, Quarry Town certainly does carry the potential for profit. At least it would do were it situated anywhere near a lucrative market. It would cost more to transport the materials than they are worth, in my humble opinion.
I don't know what the Saltery is. Is it the answer?
Yes, if a stable trade route can be established between Uldar and Alamigo, then Alagiri would once more become an important waypoint. But while such growth would greatly benefit its current residents, I'm afraid it could sustain little beyond that.
Clearly you want me to say the Saltery.
Ah, yes, that desolate little village on the shore of Loch Seld.
Sorry.
I know the Saltery and its products well. The Imperial invasion brought an end to their more widespread distribution, much to the dismay of many a wealthy gourmand, myself included. Salt has ever been a transformative ingredient, and in this instance, I dare say, it could transform a modicum of effort into a mountain of gil.
The local citizens will need to be consulted, of course, but I trust the East Aldenard Trading Company can be relied upon to provide its assistance in negotiating a mutually beneficial arrangement.
Naturally, Your Grace. I shall dispatch representatives well-versed in the extraction of this white gold and wring every last ons of profit from its production. The Loch's bounty will contribute to Alamigo's enrichment, whilst easing the burden on the bull's aching shoulders. Just as Your Grace desired.
Salt Mom.
A deal is struck then.
Diplomacy. Profit. Little Ferengi. I fear it will be many years before I feel comfortable taking part in such negotiations. But I shall not complain. We have piqued Little Rito's interest and secured his invaluable expertise. Thank you, Zilly. I could not have done it without you. Sultana's resolve complete. Securing the Saltery, Nanamo is ready to move ahead with her plans. Our course is decided. I shall return to the palace and have my ministers begin work on implementing the particulars of the plan. If I could prevail upon you one more time, I would ask that you convey the details of our negotiations to Commander Hext on your return to Alamigo. Thanks again. Together we have laid the groundwork for an endeavor which promises to benefit the people of Alamigo and Uldabu. Going back to the Alamigo quarter. Right here. You're back. What did Nanamo? Oh, sorry. Are you allowed to talk about your audience with the Sultana? So Raubon says he's going to return to Ul'dah, but she isn't sure he wants to. Tell us something we don't know, but I'm pleased to hear she's committed to helping our refugees come home. This plan to revitalize the Saltery does make a lot of sense. Quite how you convinced her to seek Lolo Rito's help is another question. After all that has happened, he is the very last person I would expect her to turn to for advice. But on a more practical note, least, assuming the interim government elects to accept Ul'dah's proposal, I have one caveat I should like you to include in the bargain. Alamigo must be permitted to cover a portion of the investment. We have a fortune at our disposal, after all, and allowing Ul'dah to provide the entirety of the capital will afford Lolorito too much control. Honestly, Alphanaud, it's like Kugane never happened. What exactly does a ruthless profiteer have to do to earn your trust? But yes, you do make a good point. First things first, though, we need to discuss this proposal with the Sultary's residents. Whisker, how do you fancy explaining the Sultana's plan to your grandfather? I'd like to hear what Watt thinks of the idea before agreeing to anything. Right away, Commander. Would you mind coming along? I might need you to fill in the details. And I shall come as well. Should Watt wish to discuss figures, my knowledge of the nation's finances may prove useful. Yeah, we're just moving along, aren't we? That's the Sultary. Like a blip on the radar, I've never even seen it before. Just a rock or like a statue? Oh, okay, yeah, like during MSQ you come and do some stuff here. What manner of mischief brings you youngins to Old Watt in this time? They want to rebuild the Sultary, Granddad. Zilly, tell them about the deal. Well, bugger me. We've never had the coin or the hands on to put the place back to how it was, but it sounds like that's about to change. There's just one small wrinkle in your plan. It doesn't account for all the nasties queuing up to eat anyone who goes near the shore. King used to send soldiers to call the buggers, but the Imperials weren't about to help the likes of us. Don't worry, Granddad, we'll take care of all that. Commander Hext has been talking about starting up regular patrols, and I'm sure she'd assign me to the lock if I asked. I'd appreciate that, Whisker, my lad. Truly I would. So does this mean you've gotten better with that blade of yours? I've been training, but mostly to kill Imperials. You've some experience hunting monsters, don't you? Think you could cast an eye over a few of the local beasties and teach me how to deal with them? Let's not waste any time, then. I'll see you by the lock. Whilst you are busy attending to the local fauna, I shall have Master Watt explain to me exactly what is required to restore the Sultary to its former glory. Good hunting. Right then, I've got a spyglass here you can use to take a closer look at these pests. Once you've got their measure, you can tell me what to do and we'll see how well I get on. Search your surroundings for yabbies. You may move the camera, blah blah blah. Target a yabby, inspect it with trigger. No, I see him. What am I supposed to... How close am I supposed to get? That's a yabby, isn't it? Oh, I've got to find its weak point. Is that light gonna light up? I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm just not close enough. Wouldn't think it's the tail. I was just clicking all over it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I just had to get closer. Stick it with the pointy end. The Yabby's entire body is protected by a hard carapace, but the underside of the head looks soft and vulnerable. Ah, looks like you found a Yabi. They say hitting their shells like smacking a rock. Any suggestions? Aim for the soft underside of the head. Just hit it as hard as you can. Whack it. Whacking day. Vulnerable under the head, are they? Alright then, wish me luck. Really thought I'd have to go punch it. You did good, kid. Thanks, Zilly. I did just as you told me, and the wavekin went down like a sack of popotos. Let's find something else. Gabby dabby doo. I think I can handle the Yabbies now, so we should try something different. What else is out there? Search your surroundings for faux badge. You may move the camera as well as zoom in and out. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, same thing. Faux good? No, faux badge. Gobad's hands are large and powerful, but destroying its crystallized core should render the salt golem inanimate. You sense power pulsating from behind its brow. A Phobad. How do I defeat one of those? Destroy the core within its brow. Just hit it really, really hard, as hard as you can. Yeah. Really hard. And inside its head, is it? I'll try to stab it right between the eyes, then. Spider sense is tingling. Be one more. Usually 3. It's not easy fighting with the Liberator of Alamigo watching her every move, but I got the job done. Thanks for the advice. I feel a lot better prepared for my patrols now. Any road, we should head back to the Saltery before Granddad starts to worry. I've been snipped into pieces and fed to a Yabby's hatchling. Oh good, we only had to do 2. Usually with stuff like this, they make you do like 3 of them. I see you've returned in one piece. Dealt with those beasties then, did you? I fought them myself after a bit of instruction from Zilly here. Like, once I've shared what I've learned with the others, we should have no trouble keeping the shoreline clear. Good lad, a fine young man you've become, Whisker. A fine young man indeed. Too often of late I hear tales of folk over in the city drunk on victory and hungry for revenge, their heads stuck firmly in the past. We need to set our sights on the future, on things which will improve our lot. Things like getting the Saltery ready to welcome our long-lost countrymen. Hearing the Saltery complete. A blissful arrival. Alphanod seems satisfied that he and Water are of one mind. What? Seems Whisker has the Saltery security well in hand. I, meanwhile, have discussed the next steps with Master Watt and completed my inspection of the site. With a little work, the vacant buildings here could be made into very presentable dwellings. Message from General Alden. Apologies for the interruption, miss, but the General would speak with you at your earliest convenience. Do not feel obliged to wait around on my account. I will remain here to hammer out the finer details with Watt and act as an intermediary with our business partners in Ul'dah. You should go. General Alden asks that you wait for him by the main gate in Alamegan Quarter. My apologies again. Miss, fare you well. To the quarter. Quarter. Oh yeah, they don't give any experience points for these. You know, it's like the patch content never really does, because they expect you to already be at level cap. So if you can't get experience, what's the point? You would think with old content they would go and just buff it just to help people level up. I mean, I don't know. I'm no programmer or anything, but I would think it would be pretty simple to go and like adjust an experience point number. Even if it was like, you wouldn't have to go and calculate a bunch. You just go in all of them and like pop in a number. Like, would it give me 10,800? Like, it wouldn't be nothing to just go, hey, make it 100,000, which isn't a lot, but it's, you know, something. Destination.
Apologies for the wait. People are screaming for the butcher's blood again. No sooner have we broken up one mob than another forms. Thankfully, all have been amenable to reason, thus far. But it is no concern of yours. We must speak of the men Arenvald and his comrades apprehended in the peaks.
What is this?
By their uniforms, the captives were first judged to be Imperial troops. But after further investigation, their true identities came to light. I dare say you remember Yuyuhasi and Laurentius, the fugitives who conspired with Captain Ilberd in the Crystal Brave's betrayal.
Yeah.
Aye, well, it would seem they followed him all the way to the wall. It was they who orchestrated the slaughter of the resistance fighters prior to the Griffin's infernal ritual.
Were it in your hands, how would you punish these men?
Their lives would be forfeit. Execution is not the answer. That's two very different choices. I guess we're supposed to be kind of beacons of hope, right?
You would spare these animals? Yours is a more merciful brand of justice than mine.
We kill gods, not pests.
In any event, I thank you for your honesty. When the time comes for the Alliance to pass judgment, I'll see that your opinion is heard. Well, that concludes our business here. But there is more I would say. Walk with me.
Walk with me.
I bear a share of the blame for Ilberd's atrocities. Had I openly supported the cause of Alamegan liberation, he might not have felt driven to do what he did. Things could have been different, and I'm sorry they aren't. But even after all that has happened, my homeland is free. With the Scions and the Alliance at their side, my countrymen have reclaimed what many thought lost forever. Under her new leadership, I have every confidence that Alamigo will emerge from the shadow of the Empire and rise once more to greatness. Which means my work here is done. Soon I will return to Uldar and take my place at the Sultana's side.
Father...
I'll not deny there's a part of me that wants to stay. The same part that contemplated renouncing my rank and joining you as a wandering sellsword.
He's the best.
But I pledged my blade to Nanamo, and I will not betray that oath.
Is this truly what you want, Father?
It is. Ever has my sword been hers to command, and ever shall it remain. Thank you for lending an ear. When all the rest are clamoring for me to stay, I trust you'll send me on my way.
He is still like the general of the army. The Empire's still out there. It took longer than I intended, but at least you know where I stand. Now that's settled, Ehrenwald, what news? We may have a problem, sir. A group of Ananta has arrived at the main gates, and I don't mean the Vera. These are Kalyana, the ones that summon the Primal. They're insisting they be allowed to attend the council. Lisa's trying to reason with them, but she may need help. An invitation was extended to all of the native beast tribes, but we assumed that Kalyana would refuse it out of hand. We had best go and see for ourselves. Pippin, take command of our forces and be ready for a battle. Hilly, you've dealt with these Kalyana before. I'd have you at my side. Where the hell are they? Way the hell up there? Okay. Couldn't you just make like an easy path for me to fly out of? There might be one, I just don't know where it's at yet. I mean, they came a long way for this. Yeah, you should hear them out at least. I mean, it's the next map over. Right? Or is it 2 maps over? Hilly, Rabon, gods, it's good to see you. The Slayer has come. We have not forgotten how you sinned against the Lady of Bliss, but we did not come here to shed blood. We claim to seek harmony with all who call Garabanya home. If this is truly your wish, you will welcome us as envoys of the Ananta. It is our wish, and you are welcome, but we cannot condone the summoning of primals. If you want to enter the palace, I must ask that you first surrender any crystal jewelry. You may have my word that it will all be returned to you when the meeting is over. We will do as you ask, but you will not have our weapons. We are not so foolish as to place ourselves entirely at the mercy of our tormentors. I reckon that's the closest we're going to get to a compromise, and we will have people standing guard. Aye, let them keep their swords. Then we have an agreement. Lead the way to your meeting chamber. Why do I have the feeling we've welcomed a Viper into our midst? Hey, Joka. Level 70, a blissful arrival. Complete. And all they really care about is, like, beauty and stuff, right? Level 70, Return of the Bull. Raubon seems unconvinced by the Kalyana's sincerity. This Kalyana elder's intentions seem at odds with all we know of her tribe. But think you, Zilly. The enthralled cannot be trusted. Mayhap even the enthralled can learn to compromise. Enthralled cannot be trusted. It is said that once a creature has fallen under the sway of a primal, there is no salvation. I strongly doubt the Kalyana have suddenly broke free of Lakshmi's will. Whatever the truth, I would take no chances. The guard must be strengthened, ideally with people who know a thing or two about primals. Can we rely on the Scions? I'll round up our comrades and send them to the Alamegan quarter. You can go on ahead if you like. My thanks, I will see you in the palace. About time my friend showed up. Really put a table in this spot if we're going to keep meeting here. Dola and Thancred, that works. Billy, I brought reinforcements. Ehrenwald told me of the arrival of our unexpected guests, and I agreed that it would be prudent to call upon Ishtola and Thancred as well. One can never be too careful when dealing with the enthralled. I am not familiar with the Kalyana tribe myself, but Alisay's report suggested that they shunned contact with other races, despised it, in fact, even compared to other Ananta. Indeed, this apparent reversal in attitude is most curious. No one expected a response to our invitation, much less an envoy, and I imagine Lys was forced to make some rather hasty arrangements in order to accommodate them. Speaking of which, how should we deploy ourselves? The meeting is to be held in the throne room. It would seem wise to have eyes both inside and outside the palace. Joel and I can stand guard without. That leaves the three of you to keep watch over proceedings in the throne room itself. Understood. We should join General Alden inside, then. Do you know of the rear entrance to the palace? It's on the eastern edge of the city at the top of the stairs. The guard there should have been instructed to let us pass. How to get to the menagerie? Further down. Is that it? No. You at the Scions, Miss? General Alden had left orders that you were to be escorted inside, if you'll follow me. Into the royal palace, yes. The motley crew.
Thank you all for coming. I am Lys Hext, and I speak for the Resistance. Among you are village elders, refugee leaders, envoys from the Ananta and the Kikern. You've come from every corner of Girabania to help decide the future of Alamigo. But before that, I want to ask you a question. What was the first thing you noticed when you came in? For me, it was that empty throne. It has no one to sit on it now. No viceroy, no king. Would any of you like to take their place? Or should someone else sit there? Then let's sit here in a circle, as equals, and I hope, as friends.
brought some chairs.
Expertly done. Lys has removed monarchy as a choice early in the game and positioned them to consider a joint government. All things considered, I would say events have got off to a fine start.
And that is Alagana's stance on the matter.
Thank you, Ragenfrid. Another vote in favor. Next, let's hear from Shanti of the Kalyana. Tell us, how do your people feel about the idea of a republic?
The Ananta wish only that those who dwell within Gir Abania devote themselves to our faith. You shall all worship Sri Lakshmi! Lady of Bliss, grace us once more with your beauteous visor!
I'm gonna do it in the middle of a meeting. I'll kill it again if I have to.
This can't be happening. No crystals were allowed through the door.
We can worry about the how of it later. We need to evacuate these people right now, or the Primal will make thralls of them all.
It's up to us.
Yeah, he's got the echo too, right?
Gods damn it! The guards were already turned! Fools!
No, you don't!
The Kalyana would see us all enthralled.
Then they're going to be sorely disappointed. We have the Warrior of Light and Arenvold to shield us.
That's right.
Aye, but they can't well defend your guests and attack the Primal, can they? We're stuck on the back foot.
All right, I think I have an idea. Keep these people safe, General. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Alright, Thancred and Ishtola right outside.
Yeah, whatever she's about, she'd best make it quick.
Yeah. Gotta go return some videotapes.
Come then. Who will be next to die on my steel?
You get him, big boy. Someone's snake hunting. Okay, so I guess we got some kind of regular duty sort of thing. How do we fight her without leaving our allies wide open? We can't stay on the back foot forever. No, damn it. If I think that like that, we've already lost. I have the Warrior of Light at my side. We can do this. Isn't that right? Use the duty action deflect to dissipate the ether spheres Lakshmi releases during battle. Be warned that allowing an ally to be enthralled by an ether sphere will result in failure. Duty calls. Commence battle for return of the bull. Level sync is ineffective. You're above maximum allowed level will be synced as follows. Level 70. Proceed. I'm not supposed to fight a fighter? Where am I supposed to fight her? Okay. Okay, I see what I'm supposed to do. I'm not supposed to attack her, I'm supposed to just, like, protect people.
Why, I offer you peace and serenity.
What am I supposed to do with that? Yeah, so it's just like this sort of thing. Where did we fail? So am I not supposed to bother attacking her? Is there like a timer on it? Yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to kill her. I think I'm just supposed to... get rid of those. I mean, I don't know. Probably a set number of them we have to do something about.
Why, I offer you peace and serenity.
See if I can do both.
I shall free you from your hate!
Spread out too much. I guess we got him. Didn't say failure.
Damn it all! It's only a matter of time before we miss one.
Didn't really see that coming, honestly.
What of it? Do you want to kill this thing or not?
Okay, now we kill it. Don't run into me. Or are we supposed to stack these? Did we fail? I didn't do anything. This one, did I? Making sure. Not Raubon. Killer.
Do not your souls weigh heavy?
Cordilla gonna die. You're like, problem solved. How are we going? I guess anywhere away, right? That hit pretty hard. It's like right on the edge of it. You want me to read them out while I'm trying to kick her ass? I have to go back and read all that stuff. Cordova. Find too much protection. She's only at 17%. I'm not doing like any real damage to her. Like, I'm not doing any damage to her.
Here it comes!
Yeah, I mean, I've been pushing the mess out of it forever, and it's like 17%, 16%.
Darkness holds no solace.
Just not obvious sometimes.
We did it! We beat her!
Anybody get enthralled?
What is this?
I'm only gonna say this once. The Ananta just summoned their primal in the throne room. My friends are fighting her, but they need help. They need someone with the Echo, and by the gods, I wish I had it, but I don't. I told you before that you still had time, but things have changed. I need your answer now. You can end it like Xenos, or you can fight for Alamigo. Your choice.
Okay, what now?
Seven hells. It's her, the Butcher.
It's done. Take me back to my cell.
You are not forgiven. Not you. You, I will never forgive.
but I will thank you.
Baby steps.
For standing against a primal and saving us from servitude. You have my thanks.
Well fought, Ehrenwald. That was near thing. Aye, our stand against the Kalyana would have been brief indeed had you not volunteered for guard duty. We'd be enthralled as surely as our sentries were. They must have planned this far in advance. Security was my responsibility, and I know how dangerous primals can be. I should have... God, it's my fault, my stupid mistake. Nay, lass, we were all caught unawares. We will take this as a lesson and watch our own more carefully in the future. You can be sure that the lackeys who smuggled the crystals into the throne room weren't the only thralls in our ranks. The soldiers who first spoke up in favor of the Kalyana keeping their weapons springs to mind. A primal servant is betrayed by his aura. If you mean to conduct an investigation, I can identify any others acting under Sri Lakshmi's influence. Thanks, Ishtola. We'd appreciate the help. Speaking of help, I almost fell over when Fordola turned up. What was she even doing here? I asked her to come. Well, that explains it then. It's sad, but Ragnfrid was right. Her victims will never forgive her for what she's done. But I don't think Fordola picked up that sword looking for forgiveness. She wanted to fight for her country. You say the world in which Fordola grew up is partly to blame for what she became, then as an Alamegan, I feel responsible for improving that world. We can't ignore what's happening right now. We have to show people a better way than vengeance, or we risk giving birth to a new generation of skulls. I know it's idealistic, but I want to help people to let go of their old grievances and make peace with each other, and I'll hold 1,000 meetings and talk till I'm blue in the face if that's what it takes. It is a long and arduous path you have chosen, but one well worth walking. Rest assured that I will do what I can to help you reach your destination. Thank you, Alphanor. The first step will be to get our representatives back in the throne room. They're a little shaken, but not one of them seemed ready to run. We're all determined to finish what we started. I will see that you're not interrupted. Zilly, you and the Scions are to stand down. Get some rest. You've earned it.
A fine spot to contemplate the heavens. The meeting is over. The envoys have chosen to instate a government model on Ishgard's House of Commons, a ruling body of representatives elected by the people. It is a fair decision, and one which signals the end of my part in all this. But I would gaze upon Girabania's stars one last time before I leave.
Give him some privacy.
Forget something? Your Grace, There was no word.
Raubon Aldin, you are hereby dismissed as General of the Immortal Flames and relieved of your seat on the Syndicate.
But, Your Grace...
Raubon, I am no longer a child. Stay here in your homeland. Work with your brethren. Rebuild Alamigo.
You desire to stand alone. I understand, but remember what happened.
I remember full well the consequences of my naivety, and thus did I consult at length with a most trusted advisor ere I embarked upon this course.
A most trusted advisor? And what of me? Am I no longer deserving of your confidence?
What trust can there be between us when you withhold the truth from me? Did you think me oblivious to the anguish in your eyes when you spoke of returning to Uldar? For years and years, we have trusted one another. Yet now you refuse to confess your heart's desire?
I swore an oath to you that day on the sands. I pledged my sword.
And it has served me well. But in Pippin you have forged a new sword, as sharp and deadly as the blade you bequeathed him. I will show you a Sultana who can wield every weapon at her disposal, including Lolorito and his monetarist cronies. So follow your heart, please. You are home. You are free.
Nanamo.
Smile for me, Raubon. I would have this parting be a joyous one.
Thank you, Your Grace. It has been an honor to serve you and Uldar.
Tomorrow you will serve Alamigo and fight for the good of all Eorzea. Am I understood?
Yes, Your Grace.
Good for you, Raubon.
Thanks for shielding us from Lakshmi, you two. If you hadn't been there, the rest of us would be worshipping her by now.
You're kind to include me, Lise, but we both know who did most of the work. I could scarce keep track of the battle, let alone land a telling blow. No shame in admitting it. The Warrior of Light has put far better men than me in the shade.
Did I mention that I encountered the Sultana in the palace? It would seem Her Grace has come to Girabania to oversee the final stages of her relocation project. She was in search of General Aldin, and I directed her to the rooftop garden. I do hope he was still there.
Are you in the habit of gossiping about the affairs of royalty, Master Leveilleur?
Certainly not, Your Grace. I was merely informing my companions.
Be at ease, Alphinaud. 'Twas only a jest. but I must yield the floor to Raubarn. He has an important announcement to make.
As of yesternight, I have been relieved of my post in the Immortal Flames and the Syndicate both.
I shall be assuming my father's duties. And may I say that Tizona has never felt heavier upon my back.
Twould seem I am in need of employment. Mayhap one of my old acquaintances can introduce me to a mercenary company or some such.
You may be getting on in years, father, but you'd struggle to find a band of sellswords who wouldn't snap your hand off. Your remaining hand.
Yes, the Bull of Alamigo need not be put out to pasture just yet.
Your Grace has developed a wicked edge to her humor, and you, Pippin, would do well not to laugh when the future may hold the same for you.
So, does this mean you're staying?
Aye. That seems to be the way of it. I would be glad to aid you in rebuilding our nation, if you'll have me.
If, he says. Welcome home, Raubarn.
Well, that was unexpected, though you seem distinctly unsurprised.
What do you mean?
Either you are more astute than I give you credit for, or I'm losing my touch. In any event, one thing is certain. Alamigo will rejoice at the homecoming of her dearest son.
Alright, that's it. I think it's about time I headed back to Rauger's Reach. What's next for all of you? LSA will be eager to hear of recent events, so I shall join you if you've no objections. I'd welcome the company. Zilly, why don't you come along to the Reach as well, once you've said your farewells to Nanamo and the others? Upon completion of this quest, you will be able to access the palace's rooftop gardens by speaking to the Royal Menagerie attendant. There's something on the rooftop gardens? Let's see what they have to say. I don't know, there might be a quest or something up there, so we'll check it out. Is it like an instance? Oh, we're not there anymore. The rooftop gardens is different from the Royal Menagerie, I assume, right? There might be a quest or two up there, so we'll check it out at some point. Well, here we are again. Alphinaud has regaled me with a thrilling tale of hidden treasure troves, mid-meeting betrayals, unlikely alliances, and joyous homecomings. It would seem I missed everything. I was patrolling the palace grounds with Thancred and Ishtola when we heard the report of a primal in the throne room. I honestly doubted my own ears. As others have said, we were lucky to have our Echo-blessed champions nearby this time, but we'll need to keep a closer eye on the Kalyana. You can say that again. This whole episode has reminded me just how far apart our kinds still are. It looks like centuries of fear and mistrust really can't be washed away in a day. Someone has to make an effort of reconciliation if these conflicts are ever going to end. Naturally, a lot of people are crying out for vengeance, but I've been doing my best to calm things down. Violent reprisals will only lead to more summonings. Indeed, violence will ever beget violence, as the Empire has learned to its cost in recent times. In any case, summoning Lakshmi was the Broodmother's doing, and whoever replaces her might not be so keen on the idea. We'll just have to watch and wait. Which isn't to say we won't be putting the safety of all our allies in the Vera and M tribes first. I plan to have resistance scouts keep track of the Kalyana's movements at all times. My parents will be relieved to hear that. What are your plans for the rest of the resistance army? Out of interest, are we to prepare for Imperial counterattacks? That would be a question for the Resistance newest recruit, a military commander with far more experience than me. What? The Bull of Alamigo? We call it an army, but the Resistance is really a collection of smaller independent groups, and when Conrad passed his command on to me, that authority only extended to the Freedom Fighters base in Rauger's Reach. He just happened to be serving as the Resistance spokesman at the time and needed someone to take over the role while everything was in disarray, but that time has passed. When I speak with the other leaders about reforming the army under the new government, I'll be nominating Raubon as the overall commander of our forces. He has more experience than the rest of us, but together, we stand to learn a lot from him. Indeed, he is in all respects the ideal choice, assuming he accepts the post. Alamigo will have added a formidable weapon to its arsenal. Given the progress of Nanamozu's settlement initiative, I see great cause for hope. The seeds which we so carefully sowed have begun to quicken, my friends. I like that. We tend to our promises and watch as Alamigo blooms. Level 70, Return of the Bull, complete. For Setsu, I do give thanks to the kami that my makeshift raft withstood the fury of the seas. But there their generosity ended. Without coins in our pockets for new attire, we are doomed to look like so much jetsam. Oh, woe betide the poor man in the city of rich merchants. These dango are delicious. Will you have one? More sweetbreads? I surrendered my blade to secure what few coins we have. Ah, it is like talking to a child. Why fate saddled me with this burden I shall never know, but I am alive and I must return to my master's side. Come Suyu, we shall find a ship to carry us across the Ruby Sea. Meanwhile, in the Imperial Palace, have you read the reports? First Doma, then Alamigo, and Lord Zenos put to the sword. I do not believe everything you read. I hear the Viceroy was merely wounded, and that he has already returned to the capital. Naturally, the savages beat their chest and boast loudly of taking his head regardless. Nay, Lord Zenos lives? Deplorable that our own officers should be fooled by Eorzean misinformation. Small wonder the provinces have begun rising up in rebellion. We must prepare an official and, above all, accurate announcement to quell these pernicious rumors. They would wage war with empty words. Let them produce the Viceroy's remains then. We shall soon put the lie to their claims. Didn't he, like, merge with a dragon?